Whoa, okay. Hi everybody, my name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at CHIKers Koong Dance Practice. This is a part of a mini marathon that I'm doing of them because I just finished their Sundays, ATs on Patreon. And so as those trickle out, I thought might as well take a look at the 5th gen because they're nice, and since I have their Sundays in the back of my mind, I'm able to see some overlap and my feedback will be a little different, which is kind of fun for me. And I didn't really know about them until literally yesterday, so it's been super fun to see. I've already seen some fingerprints, and I also heard that I got the leader right from the last video, so I'm gonna see if I can find him again. And I also know one of the members now, his name is Hunter, and so we're gonna find him too, because I feel like every group that I do, there's always one that I feel this inkling to always try to find. For ATs it was Yunho. For yeah, so for this one it'll be Hunter. So without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and check it out. Darker theme this time. Ooh! Oh, we got ball caps this time. That's gonna be hard for me to find people. Uh-oh. It's also darker too for the vibes. Love that. Whoa, okay. Boom. Yeah. Hunter's in the front center right there in the flowers. God, that's a nice groove. Nice. Yes. Nice. Nice. Oh, I love that. Boom. Oh my god. So far they're 3 for 3 on freaking great choreo. BB Trippin' is such a great team for this agency, I swear to you. Ah! Okay! Yo! Yeah. My God. Wow, I gotta adjust this. Okay, I really like BB Trippin's stuff on them. I think it's very safe to say that's the team that is with them. And I also heard that Hongjun is the leader of ATEEZ, but also he produces the music for them, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. And also they do have a lore. The lore is being dokepi, goblins of some kind, right? But we don't know. There is some baby overlap between some of their imagery and their music videos, which I haven't seen yet, and ATEEZ's. So for me, my gut tells me I think it'd be cool if they were both from the same universe, but we don't know. So none of that is like super clear, and I'm here for it. I'm just here to talk about the choreo. This choreo is freaking sick. It is so captivating. It honestly makes me think like, what is it? It just makes me, it's so impressive of the fact that it's just with Gen 5. Everything I've seen from Gen 5 so far, at least on the boy group side, has been astronomically captivating on a dance standpoint. Like it really feels like dance crews, or how competent they are in displaying choreography of complexity like this. And the speed changes and the dynamics and really going for it to the music. The amount of risk taking, I think, is very impressive. And I think that's what's really caught me off guard about this, is that I know that they're probably one of many groups that debuted this year that were like, bless it, you know? So let's go ahead and go from the top. I'm just going to, it's going to be a 0.75 today, which totally fine with. Love the usage of the umbrella. They really do give off a very mischievous vibe in general. I'm not going to talk about our leader in this one because they're all wearing hats and it's going to be really hard for me to even find your leader again. But I will tell you why I was assuming who I was from the last video, and that was because his placement in formations and when he chooses to come out for his features were very similar to how Hongjun would come out for his parts of ATEEZ's tracks. At least what I was observing as soon as I knew that Hongjun, or learned that he was the leader, I started to observe how would I be able to pick up on him as a leader even if somebody didn't tell me that. That's what was subconsciously going on and calibrating in my brain. And so this is the same agency, and of course there's a lot of similar fingerprints within, probably on the production side, music side, this, that, and the other. That is why my assumption was drawn to the individual I was, and that makes me really happy of the fact that my brain was braining effectively, and I was able to kind of catch him. And so I think that's very fascinating. I wasn't expecting to be right, so that made me feel really good. The fact that I was. And I already mentioned too, Hunter is one of the taller members. And I had somebody graciously tell me his name because he sticks out like a sore thumb most of the time. He did not stick out a lot here. I could just tell based on his face and his height where he was. Normally he sticks out a lot more. So that shows that we're already making great strides for everybody to, you know, engage similarly, because that's what you want at the end of the day. I also know at a certain point, I don't know if it's this one or in the future, we go from 10 to 9. Someone said it was an injury. That's what I'm going to assume until told otherwise. Which, I mean, with this type of choreography, it doesn't shock me at all. I really wish them a speedy recovery. Let's get into this. Whew, they're just as long as ATEEZ's. Goodness gracious. I love this where they use the umbrella and they use it in slightly different ways. I do like that because it showcases just using your prop outside of just the normal means of it is always respectable. So having the sway is really nice. In order to make this work, you have to think about what everybody's head is doing, because their upper body is what's influencing how their control of the umbrella is affecting everybody else. And he also has to have really great stage presence in order to hold down his absence of movement as well. So moving on from here, I think one of our guys didn't drop down quite as low. So if we go back, my guy in the bucket hat, he didn't drop down really low, and that makes him stick out a lot, right? A lot more than if he really hunkered down and bent his knees a little bit more. It could be because he's taller, not sure. But really thinking about getting that body parallel to the ground like everybody else is going to really help with that. The hop up was really nice. Boom, ch, ch. Really great picture moment. Sliding it in. I love this. They all slide. He walks. I love he goes, hello. They drop it down. No one's there, but notice somebody's just peeking out a little too much behind the columns, so making sure all of them are truly behind each other. He slides through. I love his performance. He's very, very extroverted in presentation. Even if you don't really see his face that much, very impressive. So having everybody go out, I love that. Using your feature that you had at the beginning to help showcase or tell that umbrella, he's still controlling it. It's like a little sound vacuum there. Having that go get thrown, goodbye. I wonder how many umbrellas were broken during this entire thing. We're noticing too, some people, they're really reaching for the sky and some are dripping down. That's going to be a chronic thing, I feel, with this group that I've already mentioned twice over. So I'm trying not to beat a dead horse about it. But if this is your first video with me, so far, the chronic things that we've seen have been not really thinking through the details all the way through the fingers, nor what's happening with the neck or the head. Not having as much clarity there as what I feel like would be necessary if you really want to take a routine like this and make it feel more clean, like squeaky clean. It's still very clean, but not at that caliber or level where it's almost animated, but like in a good way, not in a, ooh, they need personality. You know, there is a difference between that. And so here you can see they have a lot of personality showcasing. Love the throw, commitment to the head to the sky. It helps us see the level representation of the arms. Having your feature in the front really showcase doing modifications to the choreography to help show us that that's who we need to look at. I love the legs with the swing around. Love having the smoothness of the upper body with something a little bit more rigid in the lower half. Great use of polyrhythm in the build-up of the track. It helps me know exactly what I need to see. I love this. Boom. Everyone jumps. Everybody comes up. I love this here. June, June. I love just this kind of groove with the arms. The stiffness works a lot more here than in some of their other tracks because the type of timbre in the track has this very mischievous vibe. Like I've mentioned, it kind of feels like haunted carnival. It gives off that energy. Could be because of the umbrella and just how they're coming across. It just feels very, be careful because things are not the way they seem, kind of like that. And I feel that they're doing a good job of interpreting that here. A lot of this do-do-do-do-do-do. Really fun to have everything pinpointed. They're doing a great job of letting us know what layers of the track they want us to focus on, because I can't hear the track very well, but they make me feel like I'm hearing the track in 8D or whatever it's called, like, you know, on YouTube where you wear the headphones and your brain explodes, like that version. Everybody got to do their own thing. They got to whip it around. I love that. And notice that they're teetering their head. They're not rolling their head. And I noticed it from one of my guys. I believe it's right here. He was teetering. Really good job presenting that, you know, very playful tone, having your feature. Use his arms out. Everybody else has their arms in. Really helps me maintain focus where I need to. He goes down, he stays down. That is kind of like a little Easter egg in tone from what we've seen from previous comebacks from them, from Tricky House and from Rockstar. Specifically Tricky House is what I noticed that more. And I love how he's really committed down and everybody is looking front. It's kind of the opposite of when I normally talk about when everyone's looking away except for your feature. He can still be featured because he's the outlier in the formation. Love this here, having everybody kind of walk around over to the side, then having our energy build through on the sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so this is our first comeback with 9. And they're doing, honestly, a pretty good job. I don't know if we're, you know, keeping a space for someone or not. I'm just going to treat it as we are not for now. Having one of them, I feel like one of them is directly behind someone. So I feel like if you scooched over just a smidgen to represent there, it'd feel way more full. And I would feel like these two formations work together, but also I can see separation between the two, which I think is kind of the point of the formation. Bring it down, boom, boom. I think like my front feature, I do think how he interpreted it is slightly a little different than everybody else, even though it did appear like they were supposed to be unison. So that would be my overall note there. So make sure they clarify that. Throwing it down, sliding through, having your feature shoot out his arm, causing everybody to respond. Love that choice. Bleeding it in. Diving down to now showcase somebody else, them all building up the energy here. They're doing a good job staying structured and not taking away from what's going on here. I let it boom, do. Now, I guess my question is, what technique was he doing there? I gotta up my brightness. Goodness, here we go. Now I can really see. You notice that my face lit up a little bit more? This was dim. Okay. Who's doing? Oh, it looks like they were doing an entrance wave, but it was a ticking entrance wave. I liked that. I think that the reason why we couldn't really see it super well is because he's wearing very dark denim jacket, and it's really hard to see those whenever it's really fast. Do-do-do-do. But I really like the sentiment. They framed it really well to help me pick up on that. Sliding through the twinkle twinkle, having somebody come from the back. I love the arms up, and they go out. Love this, where it's like a little do-do-do-do-do-do. I love little moments like this. Having it down, having one of our guys span right back here. A nice little bowling moment, but when he slid it, look, the umbrella showed back up. I love that moment. Drops it down. I feel that if we had one of our guys, if he set up a little bit faster before he dropped, that would have really made it feel a bit where that umbrella come from. Because for me, it was very predictable of, oh, he's slowly moving back to his spot. He's the one who slid the umbrella. If you want it to look like the umbrella came out of nowhere, make this transition between these two guys a little bit faster, and it'll really feel like how that get there. And you know, I think that would really help with the overall tone of this routine. Picks it up. I love this. Now we're bringing it back to what we did in the beginning, but it's somebody different. And they go down, up. And now having him tick with it, really fun. Drops it down, sliding it through, turning it, everybody coming around. A little bit of a, not a sturdy, but like a more like a hype kick is what I would give that. That boom, koong, boom. I do feel like they're exploring more of a crump influenced pocket. I wouldn't call it crump, but you could tell that there's a little bit more, there's a lot of isolation, heaviness in the shoulders. I really like seeing that. Hitting it through, boom, boom, doom, doom, doom. Dropping it down. They've definitely, I think this type of pocket works really well for the collective versus switching between so many different texture shifts, because that's hard for anybody. But especially a group that, I don't know how long they've been training together, but the longer a group trains together, the more implicit their movement quality becomes within each other in the information they receive. And so I feel with this, I mean, we're already starting to see some refinement. It could be because of their concept exploration. Here, it's a little bit more rigid in comparison to Rockstar. That one felt more gregarious or happier in tone, so more upbeat, and so more of an up groove or up bounce in that one. The very first one had a lot of theatrics involved with it, and it was the very first of their tracks, and so I feel like there was a lot of different intention behind that one and a lot of range and stability risks on that. Here we're exploring more of that stable, strong, very masculine style ISOs, and I really like it on a track like this because the bass is so heavy that you want to have this kind of rigidness behind your execution to carry that heaviness in your bass, even if you have more of a tenor voice. I love throwing it down, boom, and I love your feature, swiveling it up, everybody else taking their arms and digging it in. I love that, bringing it up, swipe, up, and divvying it down. Great transitions. I do know some of them are just doing a ball change and some are doing like a tone watt twist variant there. Because if you notice from one of my guys, he goes down, woo, woo, yeah, so it goes together, boom, and a twist. So I think just clarifying that, because I noticed it with one, but the other ones just kind of feel like we're just doing the movements. Yeah, like I would say the two to look at, if you were just curious, would be my guy here twists on the second time, but my guy here just keeps his feet separated and he just kind of bounces. So if you were going to cover this group as, you know, as a group K-pop cover, I'm trying to think who would be the best person to watch to actually show a really nice. I would say, honestly, watch your feature. The feature, like I mentioned, especially if your feature does unison, they're the most front, or they're the one that has the most focal point. So we're going to reference everybody else off of what the feature does, especially if it's all in unison, like I mentioned. So I would watch how he does it, but he also does a pretty close job. He, I think, does too many modifications, or he adds something a little too much or too extra. So that's why it doesn't look quite as clean in the lower half. I love that swing and with the turn. That was really nice. The kick was nice, where everybody goes up. It's just really boom, boom. It's very, it's not tribal at all, but it does give a sense of, you know, whenever you see cultural dances and there's a sense of rawness behind it, but there's a sense of structure too. it's like in that family, but I can't quite pinpoint at this point in time what it actually reminds me of. It's just really nice. It feels very unified. And there's like a subtle syncopation taking place on it because they're switching up when they're hitting that bass. And I think that's what I'm picking up too. And that's what I like about it as well. There's a lot of risk taking and the speed changes and syncopation choices that you normally don't see from a group with a track like this. You know, like the energy, boom. This was nice, going boom and a boom. Everybody drops all the way down, hands. You could tell that they did clarify their palm is up. Now, but some of them brought it up to a clap and some just came up to a clap. So that part would have looked really nice if everybody extended at the same time, but then having the energy, everybody not looking except for your feature. Really great call there. Switching through, I love that. D-D-D-D, D-D-D-D, whoom, dropping it down, riding it through. Now, the clarification on this is, are they using their chest, or are they using their hips, or nothing, or the shoulders? Doom, one. Yeah, boom, it looks like their chest. Bring it down. This is a freaking sick choreo. I really love this. Da da da, da da da, boom, and a ah, and a ba ba. That's all of this is very complimentary. So far, all the features are very cohesive with those that are not featured at that time. Love that. It's honestly my favorite type of structure with a group routine. Is I'm never really a fan of when somebody is isolated from everybody else. It kind of feels disconnected, obviously. But here, it's really, really nice that I'm not even seeing symptoms of that. It feels very, very in tune with each other. I think that's really fun. I love that energy there. And you don't really see them until near the tail end of them dropping. And I think that's fun too. A nice little reveal. Dropping it down. Bringing it back. I love this. And then we bring it back up with our new guys in the level. So far, our levels, beautiful. Chef's kiss to this. I love this. The guy in the front takes it and brings it down. Twist, new feature in the back. This part, what's interesting is they go boom, boom, and then instead of creating and finishing the box, normally people would go a doom, 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 doom. They go ding, 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 ding. So they actually create more like a staircase ISO. Which, shout out to my guy in the center with the beanie. This guy right here. He actually does a very, very, very clean, fixed pointed head ISO, which is exactly what I like to see. Doom, doom. Yeah, you can see that fixed point on the second half of it. I love that. That's great. And I like the fact everybody did something a little different because you could still enhance and create that visual without having to run the risk of not everybody being on the same page with the head ISO. So I like that. It was a good choice from the choreography team. I love this da-da-da swing, bringing it up, diving it down, da-da-da-da. Look at that footwork. I freaking love it. Bringing it down, doom, doom. A lot of range happening here. A little bit of a Billy bounce. Notice that with our guy Hunter. I know this is Hunter. I would be shocked if it's not. Because of how he holds himself. Love the energy, D-D-D-D, bringing it through. Da-da-da-da. Love that energy there, do-do-do-do. Throwing it through, which I really like. Waving it down, D-D-D-D-D-D. Love that. I love this little moment here. It gives a lot of mischievousness, playfulness, but also competency and craft, and I love it. I like that. Wow, wow. Everybody gets to have their own moment. Wow, wow, wow. Having a person isolated so you naturally want to see him there. That right there. Boom, do-do-do-doom. What? Love that there, too. He blows it away, transitions them out. New person. But I know he's kind of our feature anyway, but it's just reestablishing your feature there. He goes, woo, bringing it back. Really like that as they reset up with the umbrella. Transitions really matter, and so I think they're doing a very nice job of transitioning to their next spot without taking away where they want us to focus. Because even though I have it at 0.75, I'm not noticing the transition really that much at all, which means they're not doing too much, which I like. Love that. They go. Now they bring it up, and you have your first feature in the beginning. He is now here. It's kind of near our middle. Swiveling it down. He also did his head. Here, suggestion, what I thought would be actually really cool is if he also did something with his hand to bring it and look like he's controlling it. But I really like the visual of them all carrying it down. And he grabs it on the great timing. I love that he throws it. They catch it. Love that energy there. Ooh. Yeah. And then he takes it again. So he throws it, it gets caught, but whoever caught it didn't really do anything to make it a moment. They just held it, and then Hunter grabbed it again, had his moment. I think that's freaking sick. I love that. Boom, boom. He goes, he drops, they drop. Course again. God, just the routines just look so exhausting. And because I'm doing the marathon, I feel it in my very near future. My body's going to be dying trying to do one of these. I can do it. It's just going to take my body maybe an extra day just to get the stamina to get through a run through doing everything correctly. That's the tricky part about choreography like this, is that it's possible to do. Yes. It's the getting the fullness and the posture that each move has. Like, look at this. Bringing it through, do-do-do-do. But the build-up right there is so nice. Bringing it in, dee-dee-dee-dee. Those shifts of the bases that they ride are really tricky to do with a turnaround time of like 40 minutes. For me, it takes me about 45, if that, to learn a course equivalence of a K-pop choreo at this point. If you asked me a year ago, I think it would take me longer, but because I've learned a lot of choreography from a lot of different teachers, especially online, I'm very familiar with how to pick up choreo from videos compared to in person. And I have a whole system set up for myself of how I can learn, and I know how to drill. So I'm able to do the choreo or learn it in about 40, 45 minutes. I think I'd be able to get this. Would I be able to physically be able to do it to where I feel like I did it justice the way that they're doing it? I don't think so. Which just shows kudos to the fact of the energy demand of this and the fact that they can do it consistently, because they not only have to do it for multiple parts of the, like multiple courses, they also have to do it live. They also have to do it for their music video. So there's a lot of times where they have to show consistency, and that's something that actually I noted about ATs, especially when I started looking at their B-sides. Really, really good job on the conversion between their dance practices and how they do it live, because there really isn't a huge crossover. And it doesn't look like we dropped in energy at all. And that's a really, really, really good thing to have working for you. So here, I just really like the choreo because they do a good job of the spacing and staying in unison, but they like not really do a crossover in the transitions. They actually take the transition, they expand it, and then they compress it. So I actually really like this. It has this ebb and flow like jellyfish effect, and it's really fun. I think I've noticed that a couple times now. Even here, boom, having your feature in the front, doing it to the front, everybody doing it to the side. Great way to subtly have your feature stay involved with everybody else, but allowing them to stay the focal point. I love that pull. They pull in half the group. So now we're ready to look at what's going on over here. But now, look, now our feature, he kept his arm up. Everybody else dropped it down. That's how we caught him again. Love the shoe. Bringing it down. Boom. And then he goes here. Boom. Then he resets it. Boom. A little different than how our other guy did it, but I like it. That right there. I feel like we've seen this. It looks like they did something like a little fingerprint there, but they did it here versus here. Or maybe they did do it there. Now I gotta go back and check because we saw it from the first time. No, they did here because of how they set it up. Down, and they brought it up. That's really nice to see. But some of them broke it apart a little too early. I like the pull there, but you notice because we're getting closer to the end, this is another chronic thing I'm noticing. You can tell some of the range is starting to get off compared to the first time we see it. Honestly, this whole section here, the arms were a lot better. I forgot to note this the first time, but we did see a little bit of acute angles versus the right angles. I didn't really quite see obtuse or like outside the 90. I did see some of these, but not all of them. A lot of them were hanging out about at the 45, but because I see the ideal, that's why I'm going to make the note here. Second course, I did a better job of that angle. This right here does feel a little bit more muddled, but I really like that we get to see it again though. I think it's a really fun beat catch for sure. But my note still stands. I think it was very clear to know that we were going from the chest. Here just kind of feels like they were riding through it and using muscle memory to do it, not actually engage like the first time. They're doing it again, like bringing it down, Getting ready. Now, new feature, I love this. He just takes his hand, boom, boom, but notice the impact that's here. Some people go up on their toes. I personally really like that way. Some people just expand their chest by keeping their feet flat, like what you see here. Ideal circumstance, if you're going to learn the choreo, I would say watch how he does it. Watch how, well, not really them. I would watch him, and I would watch him for sure. Because notice they are up, and they're allowing their chest to control where they go. It's really, really, really good. And then they bring it back up. It just shows you extension of range, and I really like that. Dropping boom, do-do-do-doom. I love that. But notice, we're not going quite as low as we could be. Even here, we're chilling at like a 45 degree when some of us are really committing more and completing that line. So that's just my overall note, is that we're starting to lose some of that refinement that we really had nailed down in the beginning. I love this visual of the pulls and the head pushing us in the direction, not just our arms. So that just shows you the importance of, if everybody's committing with where their head goes, you can really enhance visuals like this. Back there, really nice to see that a couple times. Great way to showcase your feature, keep them connected, but also create a nice visual with everybody else. Love this energy there right into the add-on. So normally, predictably, what happens, this is interesting that they chose this. Normally you have your one person and then you have these guys go, and then it would be the people closest in the spacing, but they didn't have them go. They actually had your front people go, and then it looks like, let's see who goes next. I'm assuming it's going to be my back four. No, then they take the people from there, they bring them into the V, and then it's your fifth. I love that. So that was a really interesting way to get into this formation, not just doing the choreo, or not just doing the most predictable or typical way to do an add-on. I really like that choice. Little things like that really do help with the overall, establishment of your group, and I like that. I love the energy. I love how he hits it there. We're getting ready to hit it back up. Drops it down, having our moment right here. Oh, Koong! I love that. Very, once again, we're back. We're teetering. I did call it like a Monkey King vibe. I'm going to call it Dokepi vibe, which is the goblin vibe more, which has that mischievousness about it, which I do like. Now, I don't know goblin in this cultural context. I know a goblin, I think of like the Green Goblin from Spider-Man, where it's mischievous, playful, but not the best intention. Kind of like that, right? Great banter. But that's from my American culture, not from here. I need to do more research. But I like how they bring it back up. Great height on that. Swinging it through. But notice even the range of the twist of the heels could be better. I love that. Stomp and a stomp and a stomp. That right there. Ta 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 da da da. I love the double up on that. But because this is nearing our tail end, look, some most replayed. Where's our most replayed sections? I think it's the beginning. It's the umbrella section. That's a good replayed section. And this section. Yeah, makes sense. This is kind of your dance break. As they kick through. I love that boom, do-do-do, twist the hands up, clapping it up, dropping it down. Koong. And honestly, I love the silhouette. Great choice of the lighting because you got to see the silhouette. So it really made it feel more powerful. Like shadows are the echo of light. That's kind of how I treat it. Just like echoes are the extra presence of sound. Shadows are the extra presence, not of light, but like of figures, or I'm trying to find the best way to articulate it. But how I view shadows for people and light is how I view echoes and sound. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I will one day. Chugging it through, a little chug, bringing it through, dropping it down. But yeah, notice even whenever they jump, because not everybody's committing to the same degree, everyone's jumping and landing at different times. Very, very micro, but it does make a big difference when you are trying to establish really quick changes of pace. Switching through, notice some people are using and they're dropping their elbow to control. I would say a good example is some of us are using our back a lot more and some are using our elbows a lot more to establish. Both are fine, you just got to pick one. For me, go off of your feature, and they're using that elbow in that, is this? Is this your tricep? Yeah, using their tricep more to make it happen over just their back. Having his absence of movement, really great choice there. They swing it up, swinging it down. Right there, pa-da-da-da. Really nice. So far, I've seen two things that remind me of Girl Gang. It's this one right here, and then this little pump with the kicks. So those are two little fingerprints of what I just learned, because I've learned Girl Gang That's why I'm more sensitive to it, because my body's very familiar with it and I'm saturated in it because I drilled it. So I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or form of biting. Nah, I wouldn't even equate it to that. But I just noticed that it's interesting that I see those two things that are affiliated with a different routine. It's cool to see here because it does work. I like it. It's good transition. Nice to see the da-da-da-da. Love more extroversion or more fullness from everybody else. Your feet are keeping it subtle, but they stay connected. I love that. Hit it down. Now this right here, great job on the swing, but whenever they hit, you notice not everybody hit the same way. Some people dropped their arms a little too early. So that would be my note for them. The swings were nice. So honestly, their range, really nice. It's very interesting the things that they have in sync as well as they do, and then other things they don't have as in sync. And the arm swings are one of those really captivatingly interesting things for me, but I really like it. Yeah, I love just the subtlety, but notice how he did this. It is a little different in terms of how they're rocking, how he's showcasing his fingers. So that would just be my little note there to establish what it's supposed to be. Yeah, da-da-da-da-da-da. So it's either very subtle or he's trying to drop it with them. I think having this approach with the isolation of this just goes up and down, but then having the wag would have kept it really refined. So it really showed me what part of this finger is controlling. Because is it the whole hand that's controlling it, or is it the finger? Normally when we do this, we isolate the finger from everything else. Having your guy for the back coming shootouts, man. The shootouts were really nice. Boom, shootout, boom, shootout. Great way to finish. They all come back together. Boom, doo-doom. Wrapping it up. Pom, pom. Very staccato. I love that. Swinging right there. A very, very big animalistic intention by this. But notice not everybody's on the same page here. Some are over hunching, using their arms more so than their back. He's using his back. Really great choice. And that would be the ideal way to do it. The little da-da-da-da-da-da, finishing it up. Yeah, he had his moment, and then we stomp back down. Koong to finish up. I do think one of our guys came up just a smidgen too early at the tail end. That was exhausting. All of their stuff's exhausting, but I'm so captivated by it. Like, part of me, like my dancer heart, wants to learn all of these, but then on the other end, I'm like, I would be so sore every time I did one of these. One will be fine. And even part of me is, I wish I could just have the movement to just be able to do it immediately, so I don't have to get frustrated with making sure I match them. Because that's my thing too, is I can be a little bit of a perfectionist in making sure I match how they do it. And it's hard sometimes, especially when you get groups. I would say XG's a great example. XG's trained together for 5 years. They have so much implicit knowledge backing why they are so in sync together, especially Tippy Toes and Mascara. So when my Patreon voted and they voted for Girl Gang and Left Right, I was so thankful, because those were their two least clean routines out of all of their routines. Not saying that they weren't clean. They were clean, just not that squeaky animated what the crap clean. So I felt like I would be able to insert myself a little bit more practically in those compared to if it was an earlier one. And so for this, I do feel like we do have some individual choices made, which gives me hope that maybe I won't stick out like a sore thumb in the event that I put my marathon poll out and people vote away on which one they want me to do. I feel like I'll be able to do it and actually feel like I fit in, kind of, you know? All that to say, this was wonderful. It makes me very excited to see the music videos, to see how these tie in. And I know a lot of people have said that they are really good live too. So maybe, you know, one day I'll be able to take a look at some of their live performances. That would be really cool as well. But we're going to stick to the dance practices for now. But in all, this was great. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to see more xikers, if you want to see them as I make my analysis videos, I always post on Patreon first. And how I operate with small marathons like this, what I do is, as a group like xikers does a comeback, I'm going to do probably one of an older reaction, and that's going to get released the day of, whenever they promote a new music video, something like that. And then as soon as I'm able to do an analysis, that gets released a day later than I normally would post, because Patreon gets early access to everything. Even when I'm caught up on a marathon, they get first dibs on all the goods. And if you're somebody that is impatient and wants to see things as I make it, that's a great option. But if you're totally fine with being patient, the goal is for all of these to make their way to YouTube eventually. So fear not, you will be able to get that content, no problem. Once again, I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye.